One, two, three. Hello, and welcome to Xmas in May here at X Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
You scum have sunk real low.
Well, we got to do what the order that makes us do, Wolverine. Don't worry about it. I am your host.
I ain't no sewer rat babysitter.
No, I'm not. I'm your host. And with me, as always, is my co-host.
I thought I smelled sewer gas.
Ouch.
Mary Andre. And I am your host, Skellisto. I guess I didn't say that. I always forget that. I'm so worried about
Skellisto every goddamn
effects.
time.
Did I do that one before?
No, I don't know.
I probably did. I might have, but I like it.
So let's make it a gang or a game for the X-Goons. They can look up every time we accidentally reuse the same name, and then chastise us for it online.
I think X-Goon Dan might know that one. He's into the names. Let us know, X-Goon Dan. All right. Well, how you doing, Andre?
Fine. How are you?
Not too bad. We were gonna have David Cutler join us tonight, but he's a little under the weather.
This is the second time that he's canceled on us in a row, so I think we might have to go to Toronto and beat the shit out of him. I mean, that's just
looks like it.
I feel like we gotta give him the old maritime charm. You know what I'm saying?
You do the beating of the shit, and I will do the charming commentary.
I was basically going to throw you at him, and when he's busy pummeling you, I was going to snake him from behind. That was my strategy.
I'll be the Gorilla Monsoon, talking about solar plexus.
Well, Gorilla Monsoon was the actual wrestler of that famous duo. The other one was Bobby the Brain Heenan. So I don't think am I Bobby the Brain in this scenario. Gorilla Monsoon actually was a wrestler.
That's true. All right. Well, I'll be the Bobby the Brain Heenan.
All right. Yeah. So to answer your question truthfully, I'm very tired, and I feel like I have a lot on my plate right now. But this week will hopefully clear something out. So
yeah, we hope you're feeling better, Dave. Maybe you just need some of Wolverine's blood.
This episode. All right. Before we get to that, the reason I'm tired is that I got asked to do security at the Megadeth concert in Halifax last night, so I was working there.
Why? Because you're big?
Well, yeah,
hey, big guy. Want to do security at Megadeth?
That's almost exactly the reason. But a friend of mine who's a wrestler's father owns the security company, and he was looking for more people. So they reached out to a few of the wrestlers. I said, sure. It's a good way to experience the concert, although I didn't get to watch it very much because I was literally standing in the center stage in the front, picking crowd surfers off. They came along. So there's like 30 of them. It was a lot of crowd surfers. So I got a lot of lifting and pulling and cradling and bringing down to the ground, and then sending off on their way back to the back of the line. So it was a fun time, good concert though. I've never been a massive Megadeth fan. I've known them and I know some of their songs. I like them okay, but it was just seeing the passion of the audience was interesting. It was really cool.
There's definitely some big Megadeth heads.
Well, it's it's like any subculture. You see these people that connect on this thing they all love so much. It's like any fandom, really. Like X-Men, comics, whatever. So it's anybody that has that much passion, that much love for something, you can't help but feel for them. So it's and also relate because we all are passionate about something. So most of us, Andre, passionless freak.
Well, that's certainly not me or you.
That's true.
Freaks, yes. I mean,
but passionless, no.
Passionless, yes, but passionless freak.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
This is a holiday here on X-Rated, being Xmas and all, a Morlock Christmas.
Yeah, it's a shame this didn't pan out to come closer to Christmas time, which is 5 months ago now.
Yeah, well, that didn't work out at all. But that's fine. People can go back and listen to this one, and this can become a holiday tradition. But
We
why don't
should.
we do something exciting here? How about that?
It's if they come back to listen to this episode every Christmas, it's if they're looking for some Christmas cheer, they're not going to get much. This is a really bad episode.
All right, so why don't we decide the winner of our contest right here, right
Oh,
now?
okay.
That could be exciting.
Lay it on me.
So we put it out there. Give us the coolest, most intriguing thing that could happen in X-Men 97.
Mhm.
And the winner will win a copy of Lady Sherlock, Circle of the Smiling Dead by friend of the show, Brooks Wachtel. I have my
Oh,
copy.
Brookie Walk.
Is that what we're calling him now?
No, I just
We'll
made
have
that
to
up on the
ask him.
fly.
We'll have to ask him
I'm
about
sure he
that.
would hate it. I know I would if I were him. So let's not
All right.
let's not make that a thing. I
All right,
respect the
number
man too
one.
much to put that on.
Here's number
Am I
one.
the judge,
in no
or are you and I
particular
judging
order.
together? Because you probably
Well, we'll
seen
get
these
your
before I did.
thoughts. I've thought of this kind of already, but we'll
Okay.
see what you think.
All right, we'll duke it out.
All right. So, season finale two-parter. Strife has arrived, but there's a big character reveal as a cliffhanger. It's Xavier.
Strikes Xavier.
No, I
Interesting.
think those were two different things. I think those were two different storylines.
Oh, I would prefer if Strife came back and it was Xavier. That'd be pretty surprising. Anyway, okay, continue.
Maybe that is what he means.
That sounds cool.
That does sound like what he means, isn't it? Okay, Strife is Xavier.
Is there a
That's
comma there,
nuts.
or is there the Oxford comma?
It's two separate sentences.
Okay. Well, I think Xavier come back at the end of the season is almost assured that that's how that's going to go.
Yeah,
or at least halfway through, But
yeah, character reveal, cliffhanger. Maybe it does mean Strife. That's interesting. All right, next one. Rogue takes full advantage of the power suppressing collar. Has a baby with Gambit. The baby matures at an incredible rate. Full grown Omega level mutant by season 3. And is a threat to all human and mutant kind. This brings together all of our favorite heroes and villains to save the world from an X-child with every power Rogue has ever absorbed. Rogue and Gambit struggle between saving their child or civilization.
I don't see that happening, but that's an interesting theory. It would have to age insanely fast, being that this is the first Christmas Jubilee is spent with the X-Men in 4 years of regular time. It's not even been a
sending
year.
her home with her parents.
It's not even been a year since this episode has since this series had started within the continuity of the show. So an awful lot has happened in 1 year. An awful lot. As anyway, it's pretty. I guess that's comic logic anyway, but. Can you imagine if that was your life? Like literally every adventure the X-Men had on this show, you've experienced within the span of 1 year. The Phoenix Saga, all the time travel shenanigans, like the Genosha stuff, the Friends of Humanity, the Master Molds, the Brood, all of that stuff, like the Tad, all of it. Like it's crazy. It'd be insane. Anyway, all right, next one.
Phoenix will be back, but this time Jean can control it.
Yeah, I think a return to Phoenix is probably going to happen.
Yeah, it's likely so. So those are our 3 contenders.
Oh, really? Can I put in mine?
Sure, but you already have the book.
That's true. I can see it right here. But I think Cassandra Nova will show up this season.
Oh, I think we'll get Cassandra Nova likely as well as some.
I think they're going to take quite a bit of influence from modern, because they've had a lot of stuff to draw from.
Until Xavier's back.
Could be part of the reason.
Well, maybe.
Anyway, yeah. So I would predict that, but if Xavier is if we decide that the Xavier as Strife one is the one, I like that one. I think that'd be interesting.
I like that one too. Xavier as Strife is pretty hilarious.
Yeah. I don't think it'll
like
happen,
a cable clone. It's just Xavier in a sick helmet.
I returned and I got this sick ass helmet.
And a bit more jacked. And I can walk.
He's just shredded.
It's a miracle.
It's like Dr. Strangelove at the end when he gets out of the wheelchair. Oh, my Fiona, I can walk.
All right. Well, congratulations, top tier X-Goon, Ryan Jablonski. You have won a copy of
If
Lady
that is your
Sherlock,
real
Circle
name.
of the Smug. If that is your real name.
Jablonski? It's a
Yeah.
pretty great name. Someone should write that down. I feel like in fiction, having a Jablonski character is a good idea.
Yeah, actually, Ryan, you're disqualified for having a fake name.
No, that could be his
All
real
right,
name.
but it's just a...
Don't just dismiss that. I'm literally just making a joke here. Don't take the man's prize away because of some stupid joke I made.
All right.
You may have earned it.
Send me your address. Message me, and I'll send you your book.
Send us your
All right.
address, your date of birth,
Yeah.
your mother's maiden
Yep.
name, and your social
Yep.
security number. Also, your credit card
And
number.
those
And then
and
we
those
will
3 digits on the back.
Yeah,
of
we
your
need those
credit
two
card.
and the expiry date. And then we will send you your book.
Only so that we can remind you when your credit card's about to expire.
And also, do not check
It's
your
the
credit
only
card
reason we
balance for
wanna
at
know
least
that.
30 days. 30 days of not checking your credit card balance will be important. It's all part of the process.
Well,
You
that
may be
was fun.
surprised. There may be more money in there. Who knows? Maybe somebody paid your bill.
There could be.
Could be.
But you know what? We're also here to review Season 4, Episode 17 of the X-Men animated series. Have yourself a Morlock little Christmas. But it's Xmas, I guess. Xmas.
Look, I just want to preface this before we get into this episode that I love Christmas. And I even sent Davan this message today. I said, look, man, I love Christmas. But this episode is objectively bad. Like,
I think there's some good stuff here, but there's one thing that's really bad. It's just
there's
really
there's very little good.
Written by Larry Parr and friend of the show, Eric Lewald.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on episodes too much because we've met some of these writers and they're really good guys and I know they're really talented people.
Yeah.
I don't want them to listen and think that we're shitting on their work. I know there's a lot more to just writing a show than saying here's my script and that's what gets done. There's a lot of
and at least
studios and there's a lot of limitations on actors and blah blah blah, and it's a lot of hoops you got to jump through that none of us can really appreciate until we're in said hoops. So, or we have to jump through said hoops. So, I don't want this to reflect as me talking negatively of the creative team. I just think this is not a great episode, and I can't defend it. I want to because I love Christmas, but I can't.
All the writers we've had on too have shown their prowess.
Yeah,
episodes
they've proven
of this
time and time again.
Yeah, exactly. Even if they have a stinker here and there.
Yeah, well, hey, it's the game. I mean, writing TV isn't it's like I said, you don't just get to hand them a finished script. That's exactly what you want it to be, and that's what happens with no input from the studio.
Well, what do we got here?
Got to play what happened last time.
I do, don't I?
You do.
Right, let's do it.
Previously on X-Men.
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah.
Come on now. Let's go home.
That tells absolutely nothing. It tells you absolutely nothing. There's not even a video for us to see it. So you just say B saying, let's go home. And that's it. I mean, hopefully
there. Let me tell you what that tells me. That tells me they're
if you
getting
didn't
on the
watch the
Blackbird.
previous episode.
No, I'm going by sound only
Okay.
here. I'll close my eyes and listen to it again, even though it was just a sound clip. So closing my eyes adds nothing. But I'll do it.
That is true.
It tells me that Beast is looking optimistic towards the future as they get upon the Blackbird and take off
Optimism's a reach.
towards home. Probably because they've just completed some great mission. That was exciting to watch the last episode. And, of course, listen to the last episode of this show to confirm that. And, that's what that tells me.
Mm-hmm.
Lots there.
That's bullshit. You know it. No bullshit, a bullshitter, buddy.
Yeah, I can try. That's how you practice your bullshit.
Well, I'm trying to multitask too much here while we're doing the show, so I'm going to go back to what we're doing. All right, so have yourself a Morlock Little Christmas begins with a nice little Christmas scene, a well-lit Christmas. I feel like this review, like I could literally sum this up in 3 sentences, and we don't need to go through this whole thing.
Right,
maybe 4.
This is going to be the shortest episode ever.
No, we can go. We actually should go through it. There's some funny stuff in here, but
it is actually. I have a lot of sound clips. That's why I say there's good stuff here.
All right. Well, do you have the one of them decorating the ridiculously? They're decorating the tree from like Eaton's. Like the tree that's a redwood. They cut that down. That's probably an
They did
endangered
cut down
tree.
a redwood.
That tree is so huge. Like,
And that shipped in from British Columbia.
that would make sense, I guess. But do you have all the X-Men singing the
Better than old Grumpus over there.
Wolverine. I like Grumpus.
Well, I don't have the singing because that's already my theme.
like they're all over here decorating the tree, like singing carols and have this nice time. And just slightly over to the left, like just over at the end of the room, is this a fireplace with one chair parked in front of it, directly in front of it, with Wolverine sitting in it, pouting, like just like an emo kid.
Let's go home.
That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. There it is.
That was it. And they're all terrible singers, I must say. But and I'm not a good one, so I guess I have no frame reference. But anyway, Jubilee
You
tries
want to hear me sing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Xmas" again, or a Morlock Little
Have
Xmas?
yourself. Let me try that again. Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Morlock.
Have yourself a Morlock little Xmas.
That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So Jubilee's trying to get Wolverine to join the festivities. You know, as Rogue says, he's a grumpus. He kind of storms off. He doesn't really partake in the Christmas spirit. However, the X-Men, remind us that this is Jubilee's first year with them, which is insane. Like I said, insane. It's the only X-Men special. So, so Rogue flies to the top of the tree so she can put her the star on the top. It's like a nice tradition. Then we cut to Gambit and Jean Grey, and possibly two of the most out of character, probably the two most out of character moments in the history of this show.
Oh, I don't know. It's pretty maybe out of character.
At what point is Jean
The day you catch me singing Jingle Bells is the day pigs fly.
Pigs are flying.
At what time, at any point in the show have you seen Jean get irrationally angry about anything, especially food?
That's why I like this. Like, this is X-Men behind the scenes stuff. Like you often see in the comics where they're not really being their more militaristic selves when they're.
I don't know. Jean's always seemed like kind of a sweet, sensitive soul, and she's ridiculously angry for no reason.
Shit like this all the time. Like, maybe the vocal delivery was a bit like over the top, but I liked it.
All right, well, I'm sure you have
with people all the time.
I'm sure you have a sound clip of this. You might as well play.
Oh, oof, what's this here you're cooking?
It's called food, Gambit. Normal Christmas food.
This need a little Gambit magic.
Let's hear you cooking.
So he goes to try to grab some spices, and she uses her powers to stop him from using the spices. And she gets really aggressive. Like, she uses her powers, and she goes, "You want to keep that hand straight?" And she goes from like 0 to like 8, like right out off the get-go. Like, stay away.
I think they've been at it for a while in there, though, and he just finally got to that pot.
Gambit also has this like ridiculously cartoonish Creole like chef outfit on with the striped shirt and the neck.
Traditional, not ridiculous. Traditional. This is his culture. That's our culture, Andre.
Oh, is it?
The day that I need your help in the kitchen is the day that I stop cooking.
And then when she does that, she knocks him back, and he dropped the pot of water falls on his head, which was boiling earlier, which probably should scald him, but doesn't seem to. And then a pan.
He's tough.
And then another pan.
Those
falls.
boots.
It was like and Jean smiles. It's like we're seeing all this fun. So then we see Beast cooking in his own way using lab beakers, hanging upside down and stirring something that turns green.
You still know nothing about cooking no Christmas dinner.
Oh yes, Beast.
'Twas Christmas broached the mightiest ale. 'Twas Christmas told the merriest tale. A Christmas gamble oft could cheer poor man's heart through half the year.
So they say.
Then we see Storm talking to Xavier, who's saying this is probably the happiest Christmas he's ever had because all his X-Men are together and they're having a good time. But Storm seems distracted. She's not sure why. But she's just resenting that she doesn't really have as much of the childlike joy of that Jubilee has, sort of maligning that. And I guess that we all do when we get older. You lose a little bit of that childlikeness, but usually it's filled in by
with so much to be thankful for.
Us here at X-Rated, though, we don't lose that childlike wonder.
No, we certainly do not. You butthead.
Poopy face.
Oh, poopy face. That's the worst one. So they get an alarm that something's going wrong. There's some kind of a thing. They all run around trying to find out what it is. They like Storm busts in the door, and it's just Beast who's experienced food got out of hand and covered him in red goo. So
what was that?
Could we be under attack on Christmas Eve?
I mean, on Boxing Day, fine, but Christmas Eve? Yeah.
So, do you have the line he says? He's like, although this chemical concoction has proven to be rather volatile, he's like, the combination of flavors is quite delectable. Like, just ridiculous.
Though the chemical formula
there you
proved
go.
distressingly volatile, the harmony of flavors is impeccable.
The harmony of flavors. Beautiful. He nailed it. Nailed it with his recipe.
So Wolverine runs in, realizes that it was a false alarm, basically. They have to go out and grab some more stuff because I'm guessing Beast ruined some of it with his little thing. So it's the Christmas Eve shopping to get in the spirit. Wolverine does not want to go, of course. He's a
Christmas Eve shopping? You're crazy.
And I am crazy, sir.
And then she goes, please.
I always shop on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's the worst. I usually have most of my Christmas shopping done by the end of November. Most of it.
Wow.
I love Christmas. So like I like walking around on Christmas Eve and looking at the mall and stuff, but like I don't, if I buy something, it's probably for me. It's not really something I need. And then Jubilee gives her best doe eyes, like, please, Wolvie, for me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I do better trying to fight Sabretooth. So then they go out. We get a nice little Christmas scene of downtown New York, I'm guessing, with them at whatever the big Macy's, I'm guessing. That's the big one, right, in the States?
It's probably busy on Christmas Eve. I can see what Wolverine's getting at now.
So they have all these nice gifts that Jubilee is like blocking.
I've never been able to get nice gifts for people before. This is great.
Wolverine wants to get out of there. Pretty happy to leave.
I would too, though. I don't like being in like.
Wolverine kind of gets overwhelmed by like all the people trying to spray him with stuff or sell him stuff or whatever.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like to try our newest fragrance for men?
There's no normal voices in this show. Nobody can just be like a normal person.
They call that.
Nobody can just be a normal person. It's like, excuse me, sir, would you like to try the latest fragrance? They always got to be some ridiculous.
You're saying Jamaicans aren't normal people?
Well, no, I just mean in the show, there's very few actual Americans that seem to run into.
Sir, think Jamaicans are normal people. I'll put that out there right now.
Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Jesus.
Okay.
But it's like they're just like over here, it's like, God, would you like to get the fragrance, sir? And then there's like an Italian guy on the other side, like, hey, gabagoo. Like it's just like stereotypes everywhere. It's really funny.
Yeah, they like to do their voices on this show. It's pretty funny.
So they go.
I call upon the raging wind.
You're way ahead of me now.
Yeah.
But anyway, they go skating. Wolverine doesn't want to do it, but he's already wearing skates and is out there with them. So obviously he went through enough effort to go that far. But he is just kind of being a curmudgeon. But then they hear the sirens and it is an runaway ambulance that crashes onto the ice. Then we see two Morlocks, Ape, and what's the woman's name again?
Oh, I forget her name.
It's the one that makes you see stuff, right?
Yeah.
I just had it here. Ape and...
It's just a name. It's just a name.
Sunder? Annalie.
Yeah, Annalie.
Sunder not Sunder. Ape and Annalie. And I don't know why Ape's called Ape. I guess because he copies stuff, because you say you ape somebody if you copy something.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. But it's still kind of a weird... It's sort of, and he does kind of look like an ape a little bit with his face, but...
Yeah. He makes his hands big a lot.
Yeah. But he turned them into
Morlocks would lie to their grandmother.
Did you know that? Did you know that about Morlocks?
No, I didn't.
They will lie to their grandmother.
Are you saying you've never once lied to your grandmother?
I will say that.
You can
Lies of omission? Do they count?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, then well, I don't know.
Come on, you got to save Granny's feelings. So anyway, the Morlocks crash when the police are chasing. They're trying to get some stuff out of the back. Wolverine and Jubilee kind of rush in to thinking that they're stealing stuff from an ambulance. Basically, the cops arrive. There's a bit of a duke out with the Morlocks and the X-Men, but then the Morlocks tell them that Leech is sick. Something's wrong with him. They try to take him to a hospital, but his mutant powers would just drain the doctors that tried to help him. So they weren't able to assist. So they're trying to steal this medical equipment to help him in some way. So Wolverine doesn't really believe them. Of course, he thinks they would lie to their grandmothers. But they're doing everything they can, basically try to save Leech. So they want Storm, who's their leader, who they haven't seen since she become their leader. And this episode is full of people trying to make Storm feel bad about not actually visiting the Morlocks. And they're right. They're like these people that live underground, like away from society. And she hasn't done nothing to help them since becoming their leader. Like
still in the ground.
I'm guessing a few weeks. I'm guessing based on the timeline of this show, a few weeks ago.
Well,
but
she did offer them to live at the mansion.
It's so ridiculous that they don't, because we see what kind of squalor they live in, like in this episode, and they're supposed to.
They love their squalor, Andre.
I don't know about that. Are you just saying homeless people like being homeless? Is that what you're saying?
And now for a musical interview. Anyway, I don't know what you just said before, so let's move on.
So I can sum up the rest of this very quickly, because there's not much to really talk about.
No,
the X-Men go down.
Plot-wise,
no, not at all. They go down. They find that Leech is sick. He's dying. Wolverine says they can't move him because he's got a low pulse. They want to try to give him a transfusion of Wolverine's blood to help heal him.
Yeah, this is bad stuff.
Callisto,
is this Christmas charity, or did you just come to watch a Morlock suffer?
I do not deserve that.
Yes, you do.
Do not deserve that.
You 100% do. You 100% do. These people look to you for leadership, and you've done nothing since you became leader. You're like literally like, well, I can't be bothered to go help those sewer dwellers. I got to go fucking off to fight Arcade or somebody.
No, he can't. Not today. It's Christmas Eve.
So Jubilee's upset that he could die in Christmas, I guess.
Yeah, Leech could die on Boxing Day. That's not.
Yeah, it's just not Christmas. If you could just wait and die on Boxing Day, that would be way better.
Don't ruin my first Christmas with the X-Men, Leech.
So they want to try to move him to the X Mansion. They can't. They want him to try his blood. Wolverine is oddly hesitant to help, even though like it's literally the least he could do. He says that he tried before.
He and Storm has is like, though I hate it, everything it's about is good stuff. Like there's some good acting and.
Well, he just says he tried to help people in the past.
I am asking you to show the courage needed to save a child's life.
He wouldn't be dying if you looked after these people.
Oh,
100% right. But at no point do we ever actually know what's killing him. They never tell us what disease he has, what virus he picked up. If he got, he just got sick with something and he's dying. So Wolverine basically says that he's tried to help in the past a couple times. It has worked, but very rarely. So they try
that's awful because now it's just like, why do they not try this every
all the time? Exactly.
It's awful.
They tried to recommend it with a line of dialogue from B. So they also.
It's not enough though. It's not enough.
They word back.
Ask yourself, Logan, if he were your child, would you refuse?
And also the idea
that his child, he would probably get stabbed by him.
Well, and like the idea that Wolverine really needs to be convinced this heartily to do something to try to save a kid's life. Like I know he's like a curmudgeon and kind of a sort of a bit of a jerk sometimes, but at no point in the show we ever seen that he's been not willing to help someone in need. I mean, that's his whole thing.
On what he says there, the only reason they give from his point of view is that he doesn't want to see another person look at him in disappointment as they die. He's just like, they looked at me, 2 of them were fine, and the other 18 looked at me and then died.
That's an incredibly selfish reason to not try to help somebody.
It's not great. Yeah,
So
this is the part I
anyway,
hate with this.
becomes a table that Wolverine can lay on, which is very
That was pretty
I
funny.
want this swamp rat out of my kitchen now!
Stop it! You're both acting like children.
He jumped ahead.
that goofy little music is and there's like this ridiculous doe-eyed girl Mariana that's like this little reptilian looking Morlock with blonde hair and these massive eyes that is like showing Jubilee all around their area with their little. Don't give them spoilers. We already look at that. You just told him he's going to be all right.
What?
Yeah, you just showed a picture of Leech playing with a toy.
Oh, you should have got there. You said you were summing it up real quick, so
Well,
I was
pretty
getting
much
some
am. I just want to
visual.
point out this ridiculous girl character that they just throw in to like show Jubilee around the Morlock place, and she sees how shabby their Christmas tree is. It's just like a plant that's dying with a broken bulb hanging out of an old paint can, and we get this sort of she's touched by all this, and we see there's still more fighting between Jean and Gambit. They get word that they need Beast to come there with his medical expertise because they can't move Leech. Mariana says, "Look how beautiful this Christmas tree is," and being touched, Jubilee says it's the most beautiful tree I've ever seen. So anyway, they try the transfusion.
Girls are the best.
They try the transfusion, doesn't seem to work. Beast shows up, is checking on him, basically trying to figure out what to do next. But then it turns out the transfusion does work, and Leech does rally and come back to life.
Please stay. You could have some of mine. Please. I bet you're hungry.
Storm relinquishes ownership or leadership of the Morlocks back to Callisto.
Callisto is now the one and true leader of all the Morlock people.
Sorry, my negligence almost killed a child. Here you go, your old leader back. Goodbye. I'll never see you again. So the kids want the X-Men to stay and celebrate Christmas with them. Jubilee sends him the thought message, I guess, to Xavier explaining the situation. He says that he's happier that they're not going to be with him because he knows that they're doing something that's good, that they think is good for others.
I regret that I was too blind to show you the compassion you have given Leech this day. I should know better than to question your heart.
And kind of pretty much it.
Warm up. Such a meal.
Yeah, that's a good
Gamma
one.
does not make TV dinners.
Warm up.
There's more to that line. I had it right here, which I thought was hilarious. What do you mean not eating? Gambit has spent days on this meal. My oyster loaves, my dough glacé. And then she's like, we could warm it up tomorrow.
Was it cranberry glacé? Was it?
Dough glacé.
Oh, was it dough glacé?
Yeah. Warm it up. You do not warm up such a meal. Gambit does not make TV dinners.
Such a meal.
No gift could have made me happier or more proud.
Like, I feel like there's not really a moral of this story because Jubilee wasn't like selfish at all in this episode. There's no lesson to learn. Wolverine, it is nice to have a little Christmas Eve-ness in halfway to Christmas, I guess, or getting there. Yeah, like just I don't know. I feel like if she was like selfish about Christmas or selfish about getting presents, and then she learned a lesson by seeing people with less, finding joy in each other and not on material things, and I feel like there's a lesson to be learned here. I don't know what the lesson to be learned in this episode is.
It's supposed to try to lighten up Wolverine, I guess.
They just had 2 episodes that redeemed him essentially from being all messed up from Proteus and from Weapon X. Well, if we watched him in the right order, it would have been Weapon X first, and then him going to Japan and getting his mojo back. So it's like it just feels weird that he's back to being shitty Wolverine again. Anyway, end of episode.
Each of us will have to look into his own heart and decide.
Sad. The Tad.
You
man, you go first. No, you go first. I went first last few times because it's gonna be low. I just want to see how low yours is first.
That's not great. I wanted to see how low yours was first.
Look into your heart and decide, buddy.
All right, I'll look into my heart and decide. It's not great, but there was I like a lot of the humor. But there's one really bad thing that just ruins Wolverine forever.
Forever. Ever?
God. I'll give it a 6.
Oh, wow. That's higher than I would have given it.
Yeah, I know. Because I like the Gambit stuff quite a bit.
This
And honestly, the first third of this episode is pretty good. And then that Wolverine Morlock stuff happens, and it's a train wreck.
I can't, in good conscience, sir. It's a 3 for me. This is a really bad episode. It's bad. It's real bad. I'm sorry. I don't want to be the grumpus here, but it's not a good episode.
You are the grumpus. No, you are the grumpus.
I could find nothing redeeming about this episode. Nothing at all.
You didn't like the Gambit stuff?
Well, like
beastisms.
All the characters that there's the first 3 points is that. So I gave it a 3. I just like Storm's such a lovable, noble character. In the whole movie, or the whole episode, they shit on her for not doing enough with the Morlocks. She has no defense because she didn't. But she doesn't even say sorry, I messed up. She's just like, okay, there you go.
No,
you guys go.
Okay, we're moving on. I got something to say about that. You are in fact wrong about that, Andre. This episode, in fact, goes out of its way to show why Storm is a better leader than Cyclops, and I shall play it again for you, sir. I shall play it again for you.
I regret that I was too blind to show you the compassion you have given Leech this day. I should know better than to question your heart.
She says that to Wolverine.
Cyclops, yes, that's the kind of thing Cyclops never says. He never realizes.
Okay, but that's not the Morlocks. She said, I got mad at you, Wolverine.
No, she's the best leader of the X-Men, not the Morlocks.
Oh, that's
Callisto's the best leader of the Morlocks.
I think to be a good leader of the X-Men, you should be a good leader in general, and not just leading, an easy not easy, but a trained division of soldiers versus a ragtag group of homeless people. I think if you were truly a leader, you could rally those guys too, and maybe not let one of their young come close to death.
She gave them a mansion.
Yeah, well, they didn't want to go to the
and
mansion.
They live in the sewer, and she's claustrophobic. It's not a good situation.
That never came up once this episode either.
No good, because I don't like when they lean on that too much. All right, well, that was my first X point, Defense of Storm, and why she's the best leader. What's yours?
Jubilee is her outfit in this episode. It's kind of like a snow outfit. I'm also wondering if it's an alternate version of her costume. Did they shift her costume later?
That one?
Not this one. Later when she's out. Yeah,
that one.
Oh
yeah, it is a snow outfit.
But it kind of looks like Cannonball's outfit a little bit. With the white.
Oh, his jacket and stuff.
Yeah, the jacket and the white stripe up between.
But in the 90s, everyone had one of those.
I was wasn't sure maybe they changed the character slightly. It's rare we see her without the yellow trench coat on, so that might be what's underneath. I don't know, but
it's funny how they've been mixing up the outfits in this later season.
Well, it's because the episodes are in the right order chronologically, but the way they're animated is kind of all over the board. So,
yeah. All right. Well, that was yours, eh? All right. Moving on to mine here. All right. Crap. Wrong spot. All right. There we are. Okay. Well, Grumpus, obviously a nod to Krampus.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
And Krampus, as you may know, is used to tag around with Santa Claus. They would, in fact, visit children on the night of December 6th. And St. Nicholas would reward the well-behaved children with gifts such as oranges and dried fruit and walnuts and chocolate, while the badly behaved ones only received punishment from Krampus with birch rods. Take that, you little bastard!
If I was allowed to do movies past the age of this show, I would have picked Krampus for my movie.
You can pick Krampus.
It's all right. It's a great. I've just said it. It's apropos. It's a great movie. But I've just said
I haven't seen it. I don't think.
You should. It's great.
Yeah. So Krampus been around a long time, since the 6th or 7th century. Pretty spooky stuff. December 5th is Krampus Day.
December 5th is Krampus Day.
I am asking you to show the
Oh
courage needed to save
Oh my
a
God.
child's life.
He wouldn't.
From Krampus? I'll do that for you, Storm. I will do that for you. All right. Well, back to you, X-Point.
Well, sir, Gambit's food choices. Internet searches imply that dough glacé is like cookie dough. So that's like I can't find that being an official Acadian dish. However, oyster loaf is. It's a Louisiana meal. It's made of briny oysters, spinach, and sourdough mixed together. And sort of kind of looks like a sandwich.
Louisiana thing.
Could be. I mean, who knows? But it's an interesting looking food. I wouldn't mind trying it. It's been a long time since I had an oyster, but
does that just mean dough ice?
Dough glacé, yeah. It's like when you type that in, you get ads for cookie dough ice cream. So yeah, that's all that normally comes up. So I don't know if that's real food or if it's invented or whatnot. However, this oyster loaf does look interesting, and I would eat that at Christmas. So if Gamma wants to come over, check it out. I'd be on that.
All right. Well, my next X point is a reminder to the X-Goons who may have tuned into our first ever interview on this show with Eric and Julia Lee Wald, who wrote this episode. Eric, he said the funny part about Cyclops' terrible voice is the fact that Norm Spencer was such a great singer and probably the best singer amongst all the great singers that are amongst this voice cast. So that's the joke. That's the inside joke. They made him sing extra bad.
Really? That's funny. Yeah. All right.
The kinds of cool little nuggets you get on our interview series.
All right. This episode is so devoid of anything interesting that it's hard to find X points. So my next one is going to be there's very little.
25 X points for this episode.
You do? Then you can have them all. There's very little use of the rest of the Morlocks. You only really see Ape, Annalie, Callisto, and Leech, and Marilee. But just seeing them stand around in the background is always kind of fun. It's like, it reminds me, I know I brought them up when I think we did the Morlock episode about the movie Nightbreed, which is just like a bunch of weird looking alien or monsters kind of hanging around in this secret civilization. So it's just kind of strange. There's like a dude who's melting off in the corner, kind of staring. Well, something's going on over here. Yeah, the Morlock design is kind of fun. I feel like, I don't know the comics if they ever went in a horror bend with the Morlock characters, but I feel like it could be mined for something interesting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Morlocks are kind of like the X-Men's X-Men. Like the mutants are like the mutants of the humans, and the Morlocks are like the mutants of the mutants. So it's kind of like, I find them a bit boring because it's kind of played out in that way. Like the more interesting dynamic is the human mutant one, not so much the ugly mutant one. Especially now in later X-Men stuff where there's a ton of ugly mutants. Like the X-Men used to be all very pretty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it's kind of like a hat on a hat. Like the idea of the X-Men is that they're being chastised by society for being different, but then there's like a subgroup of people that are chastised worse, because their powers aren't pretty or they don't look pretty. So it's just strange. It's almost like the difference between like, I don't know, like a minorities and like someone with like a disability. Like it's very strange. Like it almost seems like if the core is prejudice, why do we have to drill down that deep on it? I mean, they're fine characters, whatever you can, as long as you do something interesting with them, that's cool. But yeah, just weird.
To me,
Morlock, a Yuletide brew.
Oops, I could do that again. Oh my God.
Tide brew worthy of Sir Walter's verse.
And Sir Walter, of course, is Sir Walter Scott he's talking about in that quote he does.
I was waiting for you to bring that one up. I'm sure you were going to.
Yeah, and that's from a poem called Old Christmas Tide by Sir Walter Scott.
The Tide?
Oh my God, it's Old Christmas Tide.
The Tide. Oh, we're going to tide over there.
No wonder Gambit was in such a fuss.
You getting the
It
tad?
was the Christmas tad. That's even more important than the tad.
The tad.
Gee, Cher, get out of that kitchen, Cher. This
All right,
is for the tad.
my fourth.
But it's a really long ass poem, like a super long poem. I've started reading it, and I was just like, no, this is super. And those are like the last 4 lines that Beast says.
My next point is there's a Morlock called Tar Baby.
There is,
and I feel as though that name's probably been changed in the Marvel universe as they continue to call him that.
Well, you just don't see the Morlocks anymore, really.
Well, that one I feel as though is the connotations of that term in modern society, and even when this show came out, really. I mean, I know
It's
that
the same when this came out. It's more common then. No one, a kid today wouldn't know what that is.
maybe not, but it's funny. Just reminded me of a kind of. I guess these X points could also be opportunities to go on a tangent.
It's also probably derivative of something not offensive, and that's probably what they.
Well, it's from an African folklore is where the term came from originally, and then the first time it kind of got used in the mainstream was the Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby segment from the Songs of the South, which is the Disney film that is kind of the Black Eye of Disney because it's full of fairly racist stereotypes about Black people. But when I was a kid, I had that story on a book with the record and everything. So I read it a lot. But then when you got older and you looked at what and you get kind of get into the know about like the gollywog way they would depict Black people in little cartoons and stuff, and you see what that Tar Baby looks like, you're like, oh, this isn't good. The term itself is a little problematic, and it just sort of it's funny to see it pop up in a very mainstream way on the show. Was he called that in the comics?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He's just like a white character with really tall hair and an eye patch.
Nope, that's not him.
It is in the comics.
The one well, not in this one. He's kind of melty looking. You see him standing around the background. He's got like suspenders on, a ripped shirt. He's kind of got gray skin and brown hair, and it's sort of like grayish bluish skin. I'll send you a picture. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, my last X point. Mariana. I just thought it was a weird coincidence that this little girl here called Mariana looks kind of almost exactly like Marina.
That is true. She's a mutant. She's not a mutant, is she?
With just like a reverse color scheme with the hair and the skin. So that's interesting, and I'll talk about that again here.
She's not a mutant though, right? In the comic, I feel like she's an alien, isn't she?
Oh, she's an alien, yeah, but she thinks she's a mutant.
I sent you a picture of Tar Baby.
Okay, I'm gonna look at that then. See if that's the one in the comics. That guy. Oh, see, I thought it was the guy behind him.
No, that's I don't know, a mask. No, that's a mask. That's one with the weird face. That's
the guy with the eye patch.
Not Tommy. She's the glowy one.
That makes more sense.
Sunder? Is that the guy with the eye patch?
Maybe. No, Sunder's the big dude. Strong guy.
Erg?
Yeah.
Yeah, Erg.
I don't know.
ERG. That's that guy.
That's Erg?
Yeah.
Oh, I had them confused. All right. Right on. Cool. Well, yeah, that was my last X point. So what's your last X?
Oh, God. I hate this episode so much. I hated this episode so much. It's hard to even this is okay.
You don't love Christmas. You hate Christmas.
Okay, I'm gonna roll this into my X point being this. Any fan of this show knows that eventually you're gonna hit the wall. And the wall is gonna be when this show dips rather seriously in animation and story quality because they went to a really low budget studio to get this thing produced.
It hasn't happened yet.
But it's coming. I feel
4 episodes away.
Well, and they also didn't think they're getting a 5th season, so that was part of the reason why they didn't go that deep into it. But this episode makes me fearful of what the future lies in this show. I know, I know the next 4-parter is going to be pretty cool. It sounds like a bunch of time travel and craziness. It's probably going to be one of the best of the series. But after that, it sounds like it's going to be a real hard slope downhill. So this show
got some gems.
Yeah, the Wolverine team and the Captain America one sounds fun. I remember that one. But
Well, funny you mentioned that because the voice of Captain America will
Chris
be on
Evans.
this show in 2 weeks. Lawrence
Oh,
Payne.
he did the voice of Captain America as well.
He did.
That's fun.
So check that out. Next in our interview series, actor
He's also the voice of
Lawrence
Cable,
Payne.
which we should definitely highlight because that's
what he's known.
You can ask him about it. Well, actually, we already got the answer on the Man from Borneo stuff, but you.
I'll introduce him as that in a couple of weeks.
The Man from Borneo. I'd be interested to hear what it's always interesting when you hear people speak in their normal cadence when they're not doing voice work. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one of the ones I listen to is the CBC radio show called Under the Influence.
I listened to Under the Influence.
So I listened to the podcast version.
Tom Allen, was it?
No, Terry O'Reilly.
Terry O'Reilly.
Yeah. So he the show talks about marketing, and but he in his last episode,
Under the Influence.
On his last episode, they featured an entire episode of another podcast called Canadaland, which is a new one.
I listened to Canadaland.
I'm going to start. It sounds really good, and it's them talking
there's
about
a lot of good news exposés and stuff.
Yeah, I know. And the guy that I don't know well enough to know his name, but he seems really they had a really good talk, and it was just like his voice just
Jesse
talking.
Brown.
Yes, his voice, and he had Mark Maron on his podcast one time too, and I'm a big fan of Maron's podcast as well. His new episode with Paul Schrader just came out today. The guy that did Road Taxi Driver and crazy awesome director is worth a listen. But because Maron's always talking.
We'll listen to the Canadaland expose rat fucker. That'll blow you.
Yeah, they talk about that. They did a few ads because Maron's podcast sign up with Acast, so you get targeted ads for your area. So I get a lot of Canada podcast ads now, and that one sounds very interesting. Canadaland does sound interesting, but just listen to Terry O'Reilly talk to this guy like you and I would talk for 45 minutes to an hour. His voice is so different than when he does the show. It's just funny.
It's not under the influence.
It's with Terry.
He definitely does like this radio.
Yeah, there's definitely a radio voice that comes into play, but just listen to him talk. It's very interesting. Yeah. So, I'm worried about the quality of the future of the show. That's all I'm saying. I know it's going to dip, but it's coming hard. It's coming fast.
Let's see. This next 4-parter looks very exciting.
Yeah, I am excited for that.
Hey, check this out.
Hey, check this out. Our comic reminiscences and recommendations segment. I usually go first for this.
What are they doing up there?
What am I doing up there? We're checking some stuff out. So again, that little girl just made me think Marina. So you see, it's just like the color swap. So there's Marina, and there's the little girl. It's just a bit of a color swap, but same deal. So that's what my big takeaway was, something that's not even in this episode, which was Marina. So I'm gonna say, check out some of the Marina stuff in Alpha Flight.
I'm guessing that this episode
John Byrne's Alpha Flight.
This episode is no origins in comics.
I mean, they've done Christmas issues as well. Like there's one Christmas issue I have where the Sentinels attack.
Ooh,
but
how Christmassy.
Yeah, they're quite. But I am going to talk about Sentinels attacking here in a second. But this one, Alpha Flight number 4. Look at that gorgeous cover from John Byrne. Look at that, the hand holding up the world. So that hand is the master of the world, who is in this issue, he tells Marina her origins about being an alien and all that. So, very important Marina issue here. And then we have Alpha Flight number 15, and also Submariner's off with a little dalliance with Sue Storm in that one. And they come upon.
Is that John Byrne's Submariner run?
Yeah. Well, no, this would be before that.
Okay.
He did Alpha Flight, and then he did Fantastic. No, it was during his Fantastic Four run, I think, because he was doing Fantastic Four back then as well. But so also Alpha Flight 15, Namor's back, and Marina is gone a bit feral, and she's scrapping with him. And this is in Lake Ontario. They're Puck and Marina go to Lake Ontario to do a mission, and Namor's just swimming around in Lake Ontario. So that's kind of weird. Not the cleanest water. Not like that Wakanda water he was enjoying
Those
so much.
zebra mussels that slice people all up.
Yeah, he's down there getting zebra mussels and sea lampreys. Yeah.
Well, isn't Marina kind of a lamprey? Does she have that sort of ability or something like that?
What? Like a
Or am I
lamprey
getting
to
her
like suck onto you?
Maybe I'm getting her confused with somebody else.
Maybe. I don't know if she does that. She mutates again because she's an alien. But no, this one came out in 1984, the year I was born. So
what a magical time.
No matter who wins, the good guys. So yeah, so eventually she ends up hooking up with Namor at some point. But the last Alpha Flight one I'm going to show here, just because the American Canadian border's been in the news lately on things like Canada Land. Here's your plug, Jesse.
Yeah, give us the plug, Jesse.
Yeah. Alpha Flight number 43, strike across the border. Sentinels are attacking. It's a bit of a Canada-U.S. brouhaha. It's like the War of 1812 already again, but it's Sentinels versus Alpha Flight.
Interesting. That sounds fun.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So, Alpha Flight, check it out. Just found a sneaky way to plug Alpha Flight. That's all that was. All right.
That's good.
Back over to you. What do you got for us?
Well, I just finished reading this not too long ago, and it's beautiful. It's by Mark Russell. It's Superman Space Age, drawn by Mike Allred and written by Mark Russell. It's fantastic little miniseries that sort of drops Superman into his original sort of timeline of coming up in the 50s, going into the 60s, basically his whole lifespan.
And they probably jumped him forward now, right? And he probably grew up in like the 70s now or something.
Yeah, this appears to be like a universe, a pre-crisis version of an Earth, because the crisis universe does sort of tentatively play into it around it. But it's have you read All-Star Superman?
No.
Oh wow, you should. It's like the definitive Superman story. But this is sort of like
the one by isn't that the
Morrison.
Morrison one? Yeah,
it is. But anyway, it's a beautiful book that actually, like, Mark Russell's writing is incredibly intelligent, and he deals with themes that like you don't normally get in your comics. This one has a real existential bend to it, and sort of about the sort of keep holding on to hope even in the face of dire consequences, like universe earth destroying consequences, that even if you can there's a lot of philosophy in it and a lot of interesting ways to look at life, and it's really like a heart-wrenchingly sad but also hopeful book, that is kind of what I want from my Superman. I want the hope.
You want Christopher Reeve.
I want hope for my Superman movies, and I haven't got it yet, I guess, except for the Christopher Reeves movie, I suppose. But those movies have their own issues for me. I have to rewatch them. It's been a long time. But yeah, it's beautiful book. Goes through Superman's kind of the whole lifespan of this hero, including other DC. You get different versions of like Batman, kind of in that era, as long as some of the Justice League characters as well, but mostly centering around Superman, sort of dealing with becoming his best self in order to do the most good. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean just beating up criminals. It means using everything of his knowledge to try to cure disease and save the world, in a real world way. So it's beautiful. It's a fantastic book, and I can't suggest it enough. It's fantastic. Read it.
Got it. All right. Sam says we should do a writer's room for possible X-Men 97 episodes. That's a pretty fun idea. Writer's room is one of my Star Trek mini shows where we were building a season of Star Trek, and we've only done the one episode.
And I'm sure DC will see it, or Marvel will see it, and then hire us.
Of course they will. Just like Star Trek's gonna hire me.
They should.
But yeah, they should. But funny you say that, Sam, because we do have a X-Men radio theater in the works. So look forward to that.
I love how you talked about it like it's something we've been talking about for years. You brought it up like a day ago. Like it's in the works. Today. Yeah, it might have been today, actually.
It might have been today.
Yeah, you're right. It was today.
I move quickly. You'll learn that about me.
I do. I do too. Actually, this is the only way I can really navigate my life.
Life is short, man. This is like you think of something, just do it and move on to the next. My kind of motto on that. Well. Is your remote taking us tonight, Andre?
Deep into the dark jungles of the past.
Oh my God.
In which we go into Christmas-themed old movies, in which there are many. One thing I didn't mean to bring up is one of my X-Point, which I should have suggested, actually, which would be a much better suggestion than what I actually picked, but would be You Can't Take It With You by Frank Capra. It's a black and white movie. Same guy did It's a Wonderful Life. Starring Jimmy
Stewart again.
About a guy who kind of a rich sort of uptown type who catches the eye, or who catches feelings for this young girl that he sees. He's trying to get to know her better and goes to meet her family. Her family are full of these loopy, eccentric types who, don't really have any money, but have a lot of joy and love, and dance and laugh and find, a great joy out of life that they shouldn't really have in his eyes because they don't have anything. And that story actually reminded me of this story very much. It's a very similar concept. It's not a new story, but it's actually a really heartwarming sort of movie. And if you like the feel of like the sacredness of It's a Wonderful Life, this movie has all of that as well. It's definitely worth watching. It's called You Can't Take It With You. But the one I actually picked was the Christmas horror classic, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
In which a child who witnessed his parents getting murdered by an insane guy in a Santa Claus costume represses all that rage, grows up, and then becomes that guy himself after losing it while being forced to dress as a department store Santa in the department store he works at. But if that's not enough for you, you can watch the sequel, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, in which the brother of the first guy gets killed in front of his own brother at the end of the first
he
one.
becomes the guy.
And then he becomes the guy in the second one.
And then he kills somebody, and then they become the guy.
Oh, it gets even dumber. This one has a very famous meme where it says, "It's garbage day." There's a guy putting out his garbage, then he shoots him with a gun out of nowhere. It's from this movie. This movie is notable in a lot of ways. It's not great. But one of the most notable ways is that almost like 40 minutes of this hour-and-a-half movie are just clips from this movie. So if you're watching it, you're going to be rewatching a lot of this movie again. But if that's not enough,
I hate when they do that.
If that's not enough for you, you can go watch Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, 4, and 5 that all come in this delightful box set. The third one being
you must be a very rich man that this is where you put your money, Andre.
Third one, I don't have children. This is where my money goes. The third one features the comatose guy from the second one, played by a different actor, who has the brain in a jar, basically, as he's and he gets out of the coma and goes on a murder spree again. Clint Howard is in the fourth one, I believe.
Legendary Clint Howard.
I think it's directed by Brian Usna, who did Society, which is a horror movie I highly suggest, and Reanimator 2, Bride of Reanimator. And then we get Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, starring Mickey Rooney as a crazed toy maker whose toys kill a bunch of people. The notable part of this, which is hilarious, is when the first Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 came out, Mickey Rooney publicly chastised it, saying that making a horror movie about Christmas is horrible and using Santa Claus.
And they gave him money.
Yeah, and then many, many, many years later, when they did Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, they cast him in it, and he accepted the role. And that always makes you think of that.
Money.
That always makes you think of that delightful Simpsons line where they go, "How could you lend your name to such a shoddy product, Krusty?" And he goes, "They drove a dump truck full of money up to my house. I'm not made of stone."
And they have Mickey Rooney in The Simpsons, and like, isn't that shallow? He's like, shallow. The only thing shallow in the movie industry is the music industry.
That is good.
Yeah. All right. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Check it out.
1 through 5. Diminishing returns. Ooh, we're back to Raccoon Gardening. It's been a while.
Spring is here.
That's quite a garden you've got there.
I like the gasp after he says that. It's because she runs and hides.
Baby does that all the time. You just show her something. He's like, "Look, here's a cookie." It's with the whimsy of children. It's a beautiful thing.
She hasn't met Uncle Andre yet.
She hasn't. Who have put the
fear
scare
the fear of God,
of God and nothingness in the abyss into her.
That's right. I want to get that deep existential dread in there.
Exactly. I can't wait. That'll be a good meeting. All right. So, cocoon gardening. Well, look, gardening. One of the best ways to enjoy your gardening, people, is to time the things you put into it, like whether that's veggies or flowers, or fruit bushes or trees. You want things happening all the time. So you want this time of year. It's early here in Zone 6B, where I am, and most of Canada.
Zone 6B.
Yeah, that's where I'm at here.
What is the definition of this?
Well, there are hardiness zones, and it's usually determined by like the mean temperature you get in the winter, like how cold it gets.
Interesting.
And yeah. So like we have like an average of I think like -5 or something. That's like for like really cold temperatures. It doesn't get like super cold for very long here. It's 6B. Anyway, so for early plants you want to get your crocuses in there. They're bulbs. You can put them anywhere. You can have them going through your lawn. Get rid of the friggin' stupid grass anyway. Grass lawns are a holdover, people, from when people thought it was friggin' posh to show that they were so wealthy they could leave their lawns their property unproductive. We don't live in that world anymore. It was a stupid, arrogant thing to do in the first place. Get rid of your lawns, people. Dare to do it. If your neighbors complain, tell them why it's stupid and why they're stupid for keeping a grass lawn. All right. So, get your crocuses in there. That's one suggestion for early flowers. Some daffodils. The deer won't eat them if you haven't have deer in your area. A personal favorite of mine is lungwort, a nice early flower. Gets pink and blue flowers at the same time. It's also called Jack and Jill plant by some people. Lungwort. It's got spotted leaves too. It blooms a ton too. You can just cut the blooms off. It'll bloom again, and it grows in like complete shade almost. You can put it anywhere. It's great. Lungwort. Bergenia, another nice flower for early spring. Nice pink blooms, glossy leaves. And, next to Bergenia, I like to put a little primrose. Get nice yellow flowers, and they can bloom at the same time. And they actually look similar. It's a cool little display.
I take a supplement called Evening Primrose.
Evening primrose is a native plant here in Nova Scotia, actually. And it grows, you find it growing all around the meadows and the woods and things like that, usually. It gets quite tall. You can eat the tops as well. Yeah, evening primrose is good stuff. Yeah, evening primrose. That's one I don't have actually right now. I should get some just 'cause it's a native plant. And also, get your early veggies and stuff going. Get your cold weather crops. You can have carrots in the ground right now, peas, get lettuces. You can start them inside. You can put them out now. Things like that. Kales, get it growing. Get it growing. And we're getting close to June now. So now you can if you really want to get daring, you can put your peppers and tomatoes and squash and cucumbers and stuff like that out in your garden or out in your pots. And as long as you have a plastic dome kind of thing to put over them in the nighttime, they'll be fine. Yeah. Do that until a week into June. Then you can forget about the domes. That's cocoon gardening with Davan. That's your spring gardening. And don't mow. No mow May. Don't do lawns anyway, but definitely don't mow in May. Dandelions are the only useful thing in your lawn. Promote those dandelions.
Is it wrong that I'm just like it to look neat, so I mow it? I'd like to turn it into something else.
It's worse than wrong. It's offensive to me, Andre.
I'm sorry. Well, if it helps.
Lawns are stupid. Get clover in there.
I bought a house that had it already. I would like to change it. We will someday.
Get a bag of clover for $9. Seed that through your lawn at least, because clover flowers and the bees will love it. At least it has some use. If you have dandelions, leave them. They're gorgeous.
No, I don't.
I've been admiring the dandelions driving around lately, and you just see some mowed lawn next to it, and it just looks dead and disgusting. Man, it's just like in watching somebody do it, you're just like, I'm just watching somebody just destroy bee food for no reason. I'm just like, yeah,
Well,
well, like fuck the bees, I guess. Like, oh man, lawns
my
frustrate
whole
me.
backyard is a giant field that's full of flowers, like
Good.
full of
See, that's the
flowers.
good thing, man. That has use for the world.
Oh, I know.
Unlike
Believe
this
me, I know.
freaking arrogant monoculture lawn bullshit. And now even worse, people are putting fake turf lawns down. That's even worse than a monoculture lawn, other than the fact that you don't have to like throw friggin' fertilizers around constantly that run off into lakes and cause algae blooms. Look, this is my cause, people. I'm an environmentalist.
He's very passionate.
I am the name in sustainable landscaping. So anyway, what's next? Now I'm all worked up.
He's all angry.
And,
He's got the rage.
Man, this is my passion. That and Star Trek and X-Men. Want to play a game?
Is this like Saw? Am I gonna have to cut my eye out in order to escape?
Only if you lose.
Okay. And do you get to cut your eye out if I win? That's what I want to happen.
No, there is no reverse prize. Let's play a little guess the statistics.
Fun. Oh, this guy.
Yeah, why not? I'm gonna pull out some cards here. What do we got? Who do we got? Let's guess some statistics. So, I feel like we've probably done him before. Let's do a fun one. Here's a fun one. Just because we're doing holidays. It's Christmas. How about Halloween? How about Dracula?
Okay, I like it.
All right. Strength of Dracula. From 1 to 7.
5. I was gonna say 6, but I went with 5.
I'm on 4.
All right.
You're overestimating Dracula's strength here.
He's a big dude.
I am Dracula, Prince of Evil, Master of the Undead. Intelligence.
4.
Yeah, 4. He's pretty smart, for sure. Energy projection.
0.
1, you're right.
Oh yeah. There's no 0.
Yeah.
I love how like you can still have 1, you don't have any energy. Like what are you projecting? Just negative emotions or something? Like
yes, yes, or your aura, if you believe in that sort of thing. Mental powers.
0? Oh no, he can like control people's minds and stuff.
Yeah, he totally
like
can.
3?
He totally can.
3?
5.
Oh, okay. I think it'd be that high.
Yeah, he can do a lot of shit like that for sure. Fighting ability.
2. It's not like he's a martial artist or anything.
Or maybe he is a martial artist. He's
I
very
guess so.
old.
Yeah, well, when they kind of revamped him and put him in like, didn't Wolverine fight him for a long time?
Sword fighting.
Yeah,
like he does use swords in a lot
buddy.
of different takes on the character. Hi, Lebowski.
You got to make his presence known.
There's one of my boys over there. There's one you don't see very often because he's the skittish one.
I'm surprised I didn't see the little one behind him. She follows him like he's the Lord. She's like her skeleton.
Over there. That's not arcade. Sorry, buddy. That's Parker. All right.
The new little one follows him like he's God. Like she's obsessed with him.
That's very cute. That's very cute. All right, here's a good one. Sauron.
Oh, Sauron. Okay.
Sauron. Yeah.
Sore baby.
Right.
That's like to call him.
Intelligence.
4.
No, wait. I feel like we may have done this before.
I think
but anyway,
we may have.
Strength. Yeah, we'll skip this one. I think we did him before.
Yeah. Probably the episode he was in.
Yeah, likely so. Oh, here's one. Interesting. Emma.
Ooh.
Okay. Emma. Strength.
Best displayed in Wolverine Origins. She had her best representation there.
Oh my God. What the hell?
Go to hell and you die.
You go to hell and you die.
What strength?
Yeah.
1.
2.
2.
1 is like unfit. 2 is like fit.
Okay, 2. Makes sense.
Yeah. Intelligence.
4.
Yeah. Energy projection.
She just turns to stone, right? Or ice. She doesn't really, not ice,
This
but
is
like
before
diamond.
that power boost. She didn't do that back then.
But she has
These
telepathic
cards are from
powers, right?
1992. Oh yeah. But energy
4.
projection
I'll
and
say
mental
4.
powers aren't the same thing. There's a
Right.
mental projection category.
Are we on? We're on mental. Oh, we're on energy projection right now.
Yeah.
This is 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mental powers.
4.
Oh man, 6. She's like more powerful than Charles.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't Charles an Omega level mutant?
Yeah, so is she.
Yeah.
So is Jean. The telepaths usually are. So is Quentin Quire. I don't know about Betsy. Yeah. Fighting ability.
2.
Yeah. Speed.
2.
Yep. I'm looking for a certain character that's kind of. I don't know if I'm gonna find him.
I actually did kickstart that book. That's the Marvel Masterworks '93 set with all the big oversized art book with all his paintings. So that should be in soonish, hopefully.
Sweet. Well, crap.
One thing I did mean. Oh, I'll let you finish your segment here first.
Yeah, let's move on. All right. Wait, go ahead.
Oh, my dollar store finds today. I found also Ant-Man Quantumania came out on Blu-ray today. If anybody's looking to get that, but JLA Brian Hitch's JLA run, which I'm like, I don't know. Brian Hitch's art is hit or miss with me. I'm kind of a lot of miss lately.
I'm the same actually with Brian Hitch.
It seems kind of like sometimes he really puts a lot of detail in it, sometimes he doesn't, and a lot of this doesn't feel like he did.
It looks like he has kind of like a couple of styles he bounces between almost.
And the other one was this
MZ
one.
agrees with you, Andre. 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Only one episode is worse, MZ says.
Like which one was that? Which one was worse?
Yeah, which one was worse, MZ? Did we watch that one yet, or is that probably in the next season?
Oh, maybe so. The other $5 Dollarama comic I got was the DC meets Hanna-Barbera collection. So it's all those combos they did a few years ago, where like Green Lantern teams up with Space Ghost. Booster Gold goes back in time and hangs out with the Flintstones. It's a bunch of them, which are kind of goofy. I feel like there's another Suicide Squad and Top Cat, and it's the Johnny Quest and Adam Strange. So yeah, it's a lot of ridiculous stuff, but kind of fun.
Righto. All right. Well, I guess that's pretty much it for the show. We can. What kind of? Do you have any homework?
All I need now is for you to contact your students, Professor.
Contact him.
Well,
see what they're doing up there.
What you're doing up there? Your homework is
cooking in there.
My oyster loaf. So your next your
homework is smoking in there.
Your homework is to watch the next episode of season 4, which will be episode 18, Beyond Good and Evil, part 1 of 4. And then the brief description says, in 3999, Apocalypse tricks Cable and steals Cable's time device. So
you know what? Go back and check out the filmography and TVography of Lawrence Payne. Go check out some of that too.
He's done a lot of voice work,
a lot of cool stuff. A lot of acting too. Like he's been in a lot of shows. This is quite the extensive stuff to go through. Good homework. All right, support the show if you would like at patreon.com/X-Men Review Show. You can contact us at xmenreviewshow@gmail.com and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find our audio-only version wherever you get your podcasts. And please like and review, subscribe for Lebowski's sake. For Lebowski. And a proud member of the United Federation of Podcasts we are. And we have many, many podcasts here in our United Federation.
Mm-hmm. Tis a Bonnie Federation.
Fairly Bonnie. Just hold up a movie podcast tomorrow night. We're talking about airplane movies.
Ooh.
We're talking about Airplane and Air Force One and what is the other one? The Wind Rises, I think it's called. It's an anime. I haven't watched that one yet. I'm gonna have to cram that in tonight probably or tomorrow before the show.
The Wind Rises?
Yeah, Murphy's pick.
Okay.
It's about airplanes. It's definitely about airplanes. I saw the
trailer. You didn't pick
like,
Porco Rosso.
Looks to be about like early aviation, like Wright brothers sort of stuff, but like maybe in Japan.
It's the highest grossing Japanese film in Japan in 2013.
Yeah, it looks half interesting. I think I might like it actually. Super Mario
Not if
Brothers
there's a baby
podcast.
in it, you won't.
Not if they use it as like some plot device, putting it.
I've never seen Tokyo Godfathers, but you really, really hated that movie.
Man, they just fling a baby around out windows and through cars and like.
It's not a real baby, David. It's a cartoon.
But that's not entertaining. The movie was dumb. That movie wasn't completely awful, but I didn't really like it.
Have you ever seen the movie Dead Alive?
Yeah, what?
The Peter Jackson movie?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's also got another name, right? It's like Brain Dead.
Yes. And did you enjoy that movie?
Man, it was a long time ago.
It's fantastic.
Since I've seen that.
But it's got a pretty.
I watched it on like Space or something.
It's got a pretty prolonged scene where he's trying to like take the zombie baby out to like to the park, and then ends up.
I remember all the ridiculous
bashing it against like walls. Yeah, it was so good. That movie is fantastic. Yeah. Peter Jackson needs to do another one of those again. I would love that, or at least re-release that in 4K or something, because it only has a shitty DVD release and it's hard to find. I'm excited for the next four.
Yeah, man.
Too bad we break it up in the middle for that. We have to break it up in the middle for the talk with Mr. Bain.
Oh, that's not unfortunately. That's
no, it isn't. Very excited for it, but there will be
because it's a cable story. So,
and hopefully we'll have Adam Gorham on for one of those final episodes. There.
Did you confirm that yet?
No, I'm busy, man. I can't send messages. It takes too long.
I need to know these things. I'm a man with the plan. So, get on that. Get that out for me and the X-Goons. We count on you, Andre.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly we count on me, but it's a little bit we count on you, like doing cool posters like this one. Well, the Mary Made Her Marvel Society. We just talked about Guardians 3. Andre and I talked about a little bit of it last week because it's a great movie. Check it out if you haven't seen that. Trivial Debates. We recently did a Mother's Day edition. I won't spoil how it went, but I competed. I brought the heat. And also, I competed against Eamon, my cousin, who has Eamon on track. I think he's going to review, what's this next one? He's got one coming up here.
Did you guys do Green Day? How did that go?
No, we didn't get to that one yet. He's had other guests on. He wants to have me and his father back on. But he's getting...
to do the Green Day episode?
More various guests. No, he didn't do that one yet. He just recently did...
do you get to pick the album you listen to, or does he?
You do. If you're a guest, you bring an album.
Why did you pick the Green Day one? Because you didn't.
I didn't. About it. He wants to reverse it on us. I brought Robert Johnson onto that show.
Okay.
And he's just like, well, now you maybe listen to Robert Johnson. I'm going to make you listen to Green Day, kind of thing. And so that's also the hell. But
Eamon's favorite thing is Green Day.
I think he really likes Green Day.
Yeah, so they're not a bad band. Not my favorite, but they're all right.
I'm a Dookie guy. If I'm going to listen to Green Day, it should be Dookie. And also, Live Long and Podcast. We have many Star Trek themed things. Deep Space Nine at 9 will be on Thursday. I don't know if that's just this week or if that's regular change. Check that out. I have a Locutors of Trek audio episode in the can. It's been in the can for a while. I just have to edit it, and it's been tough finding the time, but we'll get that out there for you dear Star Trek fans. And of course, there's... With the Graphic Histories podcast.
Yeah, we're closing in on our 100th episode. We got our 99th coming up this Friday. And actually, I sort of half teased who my guest is already this episode because it's Mark Russell, the writer of Superman Space Age. Also, if one comic I highly
the
suggest,
crackly mic there. Continue.
I have a crackly mic.
Yeah, it might be hitting your beard or something. I don't know.
It's not because it's right here.
Oh, weird.
Anyway, Mark Russell, the writer, he did some amazing work, including the Flintstones graphic novel. And DC did those Hanna-Barbera relaunches a few years ago, where like they did the Scooby-Doo Zombie Apocalypse one with Jim Lee and all this other stuff. They did. He did the Flintstones one, and I can't begin to describe how smart, intelligent, and amazingly good that comic is. I did not expect anything from a friend suggested me and raved about it, and I read it, and I was like, he's right. It's fantastic. It uses like a primitive society bedrock to sort of pick apart the modern society and some of the stupid shit we do nowadays by kind of exploring it in the old timey way. And when some of these things that bedevil us today were being built by primitive societies. It's very interesting. They have a really good episode or issue on the economy and why, the capitalism and all that sort of stuff.
The economy of bedrock. And that'd be
it's
pretty funny.
If you're into Kindle reading on comics, which I recently kind of discovered just because if you get Kindle Unlimited, which is like $10
oh man, your mic is just getting worse. I don't know what's happening, but it's deteriorating.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, your mic is mad crackly.
Well, I don't hear it at all.
Yeah, because it's your mic.
Okay. Well, this is a Yeti mic and it's brand new, man. I don't know what else to tell you.
I know. You give me trouble all the time with your tech difficulties. But anyways, but it is interesting what you say. They do sneak some really good stories into some of the sillier licenses in comic form. Like some of the sillier TV licenses and stuff. They'll like do really kind of more serious takes with the same animation style and stuff, but in comics. And it's like, like Donald Duck comics and things like that are good, and Scrooge comics and Simpsons comics. And people really like Sonic the Hedgehog comics.
Yeah, this one's kind of on a different level. It's made for adults. It's very good.
Saying Sonic the Hedgehog isn't made for adults?
No. Certainly not.
Your mic sounds fine now. So you fixed it, whatever you did. Let's get out of here, shall we, now that you've fixed your mic?
Yeah. Maybe you can interrupt me some more and tell me it's crackling.
Hey, man, I'm the quality control guy.
Yeah, okay.
I have to think of the
Ask Murphy how he feels about that.
If I'm not looking out for the X.
Remember for 3 seasons where your mic, your computer fucked up almost every episode?
Yes, and it haunted me. It kept me up at night, and I did everything I could to get the Federation to buy me a new computer.
Yeah, I was part of that, so you're welcome.
Thanks. All right, let's get out of here. I've said one too many times this.
All good. Yeah, watch the next episode. Have a good week, and look after each other.
Yeah, it's a nice ending.
I gotta get out of here. All this good cheer is driving me nuts.
It depends on who you ask, I guess.
Maybe so.